You're listening to the Caramel Apples Podcast, an apple snack that dials up thoughtful, heartwarming nostalgia of all things great and retro in the golden era of pop culture and beyond, with your hosts Kennedy Rizzo and Cooper Lee. Well, here we are, another week in the orchard.
Yeah, yes, we must continue on with the cat saga.
Yes, we have been enjoying each week so far our caramel cat talks, so there's never a shortage of things to discuss, is it, Coop?
No, it's a plethora of stories and different cats, fictional or whatever, that, definitely made their mark back in the day. So it would be fun to continue on.
Yes, much to our kitty's delight.
Right?
Yes, this is an ode to the road apples, our bad cats.
Oh my goodness. I think bad is truly putting it lightly.
Yes, and where are your fat marbles right now?
Well, my boy, he's sitting probably about 4 feet from me.
Oh, so sorry, so sorry.
Yes, and my girl, she's out there eating some food, but I'm about ready to pull my hair out with him because he is so needy. He is really, truly a clingbot.
Oh.
And like, it doesn't matter. Like, he wants to be where I am all the time. So even if he's outside, he's gotten on this where he's constantly talking, like he's constantly meowing. And we can only pity the neighbors because no doubt they're probably like, shut that cat up or let them in. You know what they want, let them in. But I'm seriously thinking about getting a muzzle.
Oh.
I'm thinking about a muzzle for him because he won't stop and he's fine. He's just so needy.
It's probably cabin fever. He's probably ready for the weather to break so he can go out and chase the little rodents and bugs and butterflies.
Oh my goodness.
He's
Yes, and then I'll
bored.
pity them.
That's why you're like, okay, come inside.
How
Well,
about your bad little girl?
he's far different than Cuz. Cuz doesn't talk much. She just stares. She's a little creeper. I don't know. It's like, you'll be going around the house doing whatever, cleaning, and all of a sudden she's just there. And she's staring at you and like, look into my eyes so that I can
Yes.
hypnotize you.
Yes. She's like, you know what I want.
Yes, which is always more food. Yes, maybe some snuggles. She's
Hmm.
she's she's such a ball of fur. But yeah, so we're just talking about all of our fears and anxieties that our cats bring on us, and we're still going to talk about some cute retro entries. Okay, so what do we have this week? We got a nice list here. We got four more we're gonna discuss. So who you want to go and do first, Coop?
Well, I was thinking along the lines of Azriel. Everybody knows Azriel, and I think Azriel was quite a topic on his own
Yeah.
because he was, hey, get away. No, no, no. No, sorry.
Speaking of which,
Kitty interruption. Kitty interruption.
kitty, kitty, kitty.
Oh my goodness. Okay. So anyway, Azriel kind of had it out for the Smurfs himself.
He did.
And I think he gave Gargamel a run for his money because, he was like, I'm the one in charge. But Azriel at the same time was like, well, I can handle my biz. And they're more on my side. And he was very chatty. He was a chatty cat.
I was gonna say that. Yeah, you probably like this. Seems oddly familiar.
He was cute and ornery.
Yes.
But
Yes.
yeah, he definitely made his mark in the cartoon himself. So it wasn't like he was just some side character you didn't even really think about. Like he
Mhm.
definitely was important to the storyline.
Yes, yes. And it's funny because, I think, was it last week we spoke about Mad Cat for Dr.
Yes.
Claw,
Yes.
and now we have Gargamel and Azriel. What is it with these batty guys, that
That have
the,
these rotten kitties.
yeah, they like take on these awful meatballs, and then the little meatball with fur, is like, I look up to you. I want to be just like you when I grow up. So awful. Yeah, but Azriel he was fun to watch. He was definitely part of the Saturday morning cartoon lineup. Yeah,
Yes.
the
And
staple.
correct me if I'm wrong, because it's been a while since I've seen Azrael. Did he have like a hoop in his ear, or did he have a hole in his ear? I can't remember.
Or
I was
maybe a
trying to.
Nick.
Yes, there was something specific about his ear.
Yeah, I think it was a Nick.
Okay. So it's like it tells you a little bit about his attitude. He was a little scruffer, right? Or not a scruffer, a scrapper. That's what it is. He was a scrapper.
Oh my goodness. So good. That's good memories right there. And the Smurfs was huge in the 80s. So like, I mean, weekly, you could see probably a number of his crazy antics. But
Yes.
yes, silly antics. We're absorbing it. That's the way it is. Okay, so now what's next on our list? Let's go to the Pound
The
Purries.
PoundPurries.
Yeah. Yeah, we liked them because, like, I mean, they were a spinoff of the Pound Puppies,
Right. Right.
which was really big in the 80s and stuff. The Pound Puppies were pretty daggone cute, but
They were, and we wanted one, of course. We wanted some pound puppies.
yeah, I think at the time, I think like back when fast food places were, affiliated with some of the cartoons, movies, shows, whatever going on at the time.
Yeah.
I think that Wendy's or somebody had like little knockoff, like little imitation pound. They were actually Pound Puppies.
Ah, I think I vaguely remember that. Yes.
Yeah, and you could get them through that. Like they would come with your Happy Meal or your Fun Meal.
Yes.
And that was good enough for us. We didn't have money and stuff. So like we always were like, hey, if you give us the budget version of anything.
We'll gladly take it.
Yeah, we were good with that too. They were cute. You could squeeze on them, so that worked. So that was the only way we actually got our Pound Puppies.
Yes.
Because they were, we didn't have money and they were quite pricey at the time. Like toys were probably far more budget friendly then than they are now and better made. But
Oh,
uh,
absolutely. And I think they kind of entered the scene like mid 80s. Wasn't it about like 84, 85 somewhere in there?
I think you're right. Yes.
And as you said, the pound purries came along because
Hmm.
obviously the marketing people they realized, okay, there's dog lovers and there's cat lovers. We can really cash in on this. So, here come the pound purries. And I believe that you could I can't remember if you ordered them or if you could just go and pick one up at the store. But after you did that, there was a way for you to get like you could name them and you could get um like collars for them and stuff. Of course, that cost extra money,
It did. It had, yes.
but they would
Yes.
send you the stuff, which made kids feel very special when you had stuff coming in the mail, right? So we didn't get to actually partake of that. I mean, it would have been really cool, and of course, that was something we wanted really badly. But
Again.
we
Again.
were denied again. So, but that was really cool. What a cool experience for kids. It's teaching them responsibility, because, whether they had real life animals in their house or not, they got these toys that you could actually try to take care of like they were a real live animal. They would give you some life lessons, so maybe when you were bestowed an actual pet,
Yeah.
you might have got some experience dealing with it just because as a kid, it's a little low core at the time, but it was something.
It was. And that was kind of big back then, adopting things, getting
Yeah.
papers, accessories or whatever, and the Pound
Hmm.
Purries was part of that conglomerate. So yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't know. The business model, even for toys and cartoons, was just more streamlined, even though it was back then than now. Like, I don't know. Now I don't think kids even care or really are into that stuff.
I think you're right because I think kids when we were children. And then
Yeah.
you think even back beyond us, kids were really kids back then. I think we
Mm-hmm.
were even different in our generation than our parents' generation. You know, they
Oh,
were still like, "Please, sir," you know, like for us, you know, it wasn't really so much of that, but we were still very much children.
yeah.
You know,
Yeah. I
we still
remember.
played with Barbies and stuff.
I miss that.
I know, I
Yeah.
know.
I think you
Because
said it
now,
well. Children are children. Mm-hmm.
yeah, because kids now, they're pretty much just short adults. That's all they are. They're pretty much running their own lives, you know. The parents don't have a big say in it.
Yeah,
It's,
they
yeah.
want cell phones and they have access to social media. And I'll tell you, like that's actually I've heard stories, horror stories where kids are just they lose their minds because they can't be little adults. Like they let them. I mean, they could demand it and they just kind of give in or whatever. But yeah, bring
Yeah.
back the PoundPurries.
Bring them back. Yes. Let kids be kids again.
That would be nice. But they were pretty cute and they had their little crate, like the little when you bought them.
Yeah.
They'd have the crate where it almost looked like a toolbox. You could just put your hand through the top of it and carry them around. It was almost like their little carrier,
Yes.
and you could take them with you if you
Totally.
went on a trip or something. Put them in the car, and you had your little pet, your little friend with you. It was kind of cute.
Oh, they thought of everything.
They did, and let's go back to 1985 now.
Yes. Right now, we would not deny wanting to be there. We couldn't hide it.
Yes, and no, we never did get them. Just the little kid meal one, the dogs.
Right. Right.
We were
So
deprived.
for us, you know, speaking of like something that's pretty much imaginary because we didn't get them, that brings us to another topic would be like Calvin and Hobbes.
Okay. Yes. I just had to put the bubble out, so
Okay.
so now I'm free.
Oh, nice. Enjoy that freedom for now.
I sure will.
So, as far as Calvin and Hobbes goes, I guess from my vague recollection, I guess I kind of always thought that he was like imaginary. I thought that Hobbes was imaginary, but
Okay.
I'm not 100% sure on that. So that might be one for the Orchard Archivers.
Oh, okay. All right.
Um, but he was very much real in the comic strip, right? Like he, if you saw Calvin, you saw Hobbes.
Okay.
And I think he convinced him to do a lot of things he probably shouldn't do. You know, he was probably an ornery little boy anyway. And then Hobbes comes along, and if he is from his imagination, obviously Hobbes is going to be like, "Yeah, this is what we need to do," and Calvin's going to be like, "Okay, yeah, let's do that." But he was always such a cute little drawing. Hobbes, he was adorable with his little dot eyes, and I think he was a tiger, wasn't he?
Yeah, I think he was.
Yeah. So my hubby, he was big on this. He really liked Calvin and Hobbes, but he's like, I'm getting old and I can't really remember everything. So
Oh, poor thing.
he couldn't give me a whole lot. He couldn't remember everything. But I think he did show up like in the mid 80s, and I think he got a super huge surge into the 90s because you know we were coming of age. We were teenagers in the 90s, and definitely there were like you could see Calvin and Hobbes t-shirts. There's used to be a store called Spencer's Gifts.
Oh yeah, Spencer's.
Yeah, and I believe they were major on carrying things Calvin and Hobbes. So all this memorabilia, you could get t-shirts, you could get bumper stickers for your car, or like the things you could put on your window. Like it took off. Calvin and Hobbes was huge, and it was I think mainly Hobbes was the part that was really driving the story
Okay,
for
all right.
people. But I could be wrong, you know. It would not be the first time.
Well, this is really cool to hear a little bit about it because I mean, I'm familiar with the title Calvin and Hobbes. I've seen them in the paper back in the day,
Yeah.
but I never read it. I wasn't super duper familiar with it. So, like, I mean, what you're telling and sharing with me and the listeners. Pretty interesting. I really didn't have anything to go on with that.
you know? And it's crazy because people listening may be like, she doesn't have a clue what she's talking about. But my husband, he did say that, he read the comic strips in the paper, and he had at least one book of Calvin and Hobbes, but I can't remember if he said it was set up still like, the comic strips, or if it was like a book. I can't remember what he said.
Okay.
So that would be interesting. But yes, that was major. And fortunately they fit our parameters. Hobbes was a famous fictional cat. He probably still definitely has fans, because when you're into something, you're into it. So he's probably still got people who are like, yeah, I'm definitely into Calvin and Hobbes.
Yeah, that's the cool thing about nostalgia. Yeah, for the
Yeah.
true and tried fans right there, that's the best. Okay, so before we end this week, there's one more entry that we weren't super duper familiar with, but we stumbled on this on social media.
Mm.
And this was a little cute character called Henry's Cat. And the music, the theme song is super duper clunky.
Yeah.
It is adorable. Like, I mean, just listening to the song will draw you in. I mean, I was hooked. I was like, this is definitely something that we would have loved watching. Why have we not heard of it?
And I wondered, when you stumbled onto it, did you find like what market it was in? Like, do you know who it was, broadcast to? Because I don't think it was here. If it was a short period of time, or we just really didn't know.
Nope. Had to look it up. And the reason why we'd never heard of it was because it was British.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, so it was a British animated children's television series created by a guy named Stan Hayward and
Hmm.
directed by Bob Godfrey. And it was about a little yellow feline that had many friends and enemies, and he would play his little adventures out.
So rotten.
I know. And every episode presented like narration and character voices by that director, Bob Godfrey. So, like, that was his little brainchild, I think.
Oh, okay, cool. That's
Yeah.
cool.
And it started again, in the UK,
Hmm.
September 12th, 1983, and aired for 5 series and 51 episodes collectively. So, yeah, that's why we had never heard of it, because it was like something we totally would have dug. I'm telling you.
Yes.
Yeah. So Henry's Cat, that we'd have been we'd have been rabid fans of this cute cartoon, because I mean just the drawing of him. He had that cute the little triangle under his nose, the little mouth,
Oh.
and he looks ornery. Like, he's just like, I don't know. We'd have to go to YouTube or something and check out and see if they got actual episodes that you could
Yeah.
play and watch. That would be neat to see, like, what does he do? What is his adventures?
Yes, I mean, because now that we've been introduced, we are about 30 years late, but now that we've been introduced, we should definitely make that a project, at least to see one episode. Because, like you said, the music was adorable. So,
Yeah.
like, what does this encompass? What does his day involve? He's got his own theme song. So,
He does. And it's funny because, like, just this past week, we're trying to implement, regular family game days. So, like, we get to be around our brother and sister-in-law
yes.
and our dada, which, like, he don't hear half the stuff we're saying. So, he's there, but. But anyway, we was talking about Henry's cat, sorry. And our brother, he likes this kind of stuff. We talked about him last week with Heathcliff. Like, that's his jam.
Yes, yes.
And we're like, hey, have you ever heard of this cartoon, Henry's Cat? And he was like, no. So, I had it downloaded on my phone and played it. And remember, he just started dancing. He was like, that's cute. He's like, yeah, that's pretty cool. What is it
Yes. So we'll have to check with him later to see if he did his own little YouTube search.
again? Yeah, because he was within those 2 to 5 seconds. It sounded like he might have been a small time fan. Yeah, I know, right?
Yes,
So
insane.
I don't know. I'm enjoying our little caramel cat talks that we've been having. We got one more week to go on that with some retro nostalgia as far as kitties are concerned. And
Yeah.
again, all this is an ode to our silly road apples.
I mean, we had to go there. I mean, if our listeners didn't know this was coming, they really should not be surprised that this has come. You know what I mean?
That's right. That's
We've
right.
talked about those rotten kitty cats for a minute now.
Yes, and we value our legs. They will scratch our legs up if we don't do something for them. So you have to pity us, listeners. I mean, these cats can be gruesome.
They can, because I affectionately refer to mine as turkeys in fitty costumes.
That's funny.
They're little fursuits because I'm pretty sure there's a turkeys in there and they're a mess.
Oh. Well, join us again next week. We're going to be talking about bigger kitties. Yes, we're going to go there.
Yeah.
And we'll see what we come up with that.
Stay tuned.
And that's it for this week's Apple Snack. But as you know, there's always more where that came from. So stay tuned. Subscribe, review, and spread the word. See you next time in the Retro Orchard, and thanks so much for listening.